everyone. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the official launch of the Women's Power Collaborative member platform. The time has finally come, and I'm so excited that there are so many of you here that are interested in boosting women's political power. And before I jump into everything, a special thank you to some key women that are here, I see in the audience. That have been so critical to this movement and whose leadership has just been so inspiring. So thank you all for being here. Incredible women like Maria Perez from Democracy Rising, Jean Massey from Fair Vote, Minnesota, Debbie Walsh from the Center for American Women in Politics, and our partners at Fair Vote. I see members of the Represent Women board here, like Amber McReynolds, and thank you all so much for spending an hour with us as we launch this incredible member platform and tell you what it's all about. So before I jump in, I just want to introduce myself. So my name is Victoria Pelletier, and I'm the National Partnerships Manager with Represent Women. And for those of you who need a refresher or are not familiar with Represent Women, we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that is dedicated to building women's political power through system strategies that help women run, win, serve, and lead. I'm also an elected official, serving my first term as the second Black woman elected to the Portland, Maine City Council ever in our city's history. I've been on the council now for 2 years, which is pretty incredible. We just had an election, not my election, but we just had one. And we also have ranked choice voting in Maine and in Portland, so it's a huge privilege. And with this most recent election, we just welcomed 2 additional women to the council. So we now have a 6-3 women majority on the council, and every single district seat is currently held and represented by a woman for the very first time in our city's history. So it's a really exciting time for women's representation, and it is a really exciting time to be involved in this work. So we only have about an hour, and we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to cover. So again, before I dive right in, I want to just share some housekeeping items with all of you. So the first one is that the chat is on. So please feel free to introduce yourself, say your name and your organization or where you're tuning in from, any highlights that you have on building women's political power. We want to see the chat as much as we can, and we want to engage with all of you. So please use that as much as you can and say hello. And we've left about 5 to 10 minutes after the presentation for Q&A. So we also have that open, so feel free to utilize that as necessary. And there are many, many of you here, so I'm sure that there will be a significant amount of questions. If we can't get to all of the questions that you have, don't hesitate to reach out and send me an email, and I'll make sure that any question that didn't get answered today will get answered for you. So the way that it's going to work today is we're going to talk a little bit about the origin of the Women's Power Collaborative. We're going to introduce our really incredible leadership circle. And then I'm going to show you the member platform that I know all of you are here to see. And we're really excited to show you and to bring you in and to get started. So let's start at the very beginning. What is the Women's Power Collaborative? What is it? I think I've said Women's Power Collaborative multiple times since I've started at Represent Women. I feel like I've talked to it about everyone. So or talked to everyone about it. So I'm really excited to finally get to describe to you what it is. So this platform will be the only national level body that brings together women's representation organizations with organizations working on democracy reform. So at the end of the day, our goal, the shared collective goal that we have, is to build women's political power and to get those numbers up because we are still significantly underrepresented in all areas of government. And so I work in partnerships. And so my job at Represent Women is to meet and to chat and to collaborate and brainstorm with all of you. And I've had the pleasure of doing that with so many of you. And something that we've heard a lot in partnership conversations is that there was a lack of a shared space where organizations from these two worlds working on similar goals and issues can connect and can share resources, and they can network, and they can have a space to really collaborate and connect with one another. So we at Represent Women, led by Cynthia, decided to create this platform that can combine the preparing individual candidates to run for office with system strategies that remove barriers and create the ecosystem necessary for their success. So as you can see, the twin track approach, which we'll talk a little bit more about, but that is the what. And now we can talk about the why. So why do we need it? Why do we need something like this called the Women's Power Collaborative? So again, at Represent Women, we like to highlight what we call the twin track approach, which is combining the preparing of individual candidates to run for office with system strategies that remove barriers for their success. So it's not simply that women just aren't running. I think often we hear like, well, the reason the numbers are so low is women just aren't running. They're just not getting involved in these seats. But the reality is there are so many barriers in the way for women, and especially women of color, to actually achieve the seats that they very much deserve. So we realized shared collaboration and also eliminating the duplication of work is going to get us all to our goals faster. So now you'll have a one-stop shop for all the resources you need to achieve your goals. So for example, if you're looking for a data point on ranked choice voting on a specific state, or you would like to know which women leaders support ranked choice voting, you can now source this information in the Women's Power Collaborative member platform. If you need to know which women candidates are running for office in a certain state, or looking for sample training curriculums to help get more candidates involved in office, you can now find that in the Women's Power Collaborative. Or if you're like me and you're like, hey, I'm in Maine and we're doing really cool stuff here, and I want to connect with other people working on women's representation, and I want to connect with other people working on democracy reform, but I don't know where to begin, you can now find those connections here within the Women's Power Collaborative. So this member platform is truly one of a kind, and we're really excited that it has finally come to life. So that's a little bit of the what is it and the why do we need it. And speaking of the creation of this platform, we realized how important it was to really make sure that we can engage our partner organizations that represent women and ensure that we had the best minds at the table for this type of work. We wanted individuals from organizations dedicated to getting women elected, and we wanted individuals from organizations dedicated to system strategies that eliminate barriers for women. So this Women's Power Collaborative is a huge team effort, and it truly would not exist without 8 individuals that have made this possible, which we call the Women's Power Collaborative Leadership Circle. So these members have all dedicated experience working in women's representation spaces and dedicated experience working in democracy reform, and have paved the way towards the increasing of women's political power in so many ways. And it was really important that in creating this member platform, that we want the experts, we want the best minds at the table within their fields. So I'm really, really excited for you to meet these incredible individuals. We have been meeting weekly or bi-weekly pretty much since May or June. So we have been putting in work. We've been meeting for 6 months straight pretty much. And they have put in tireless efforts to make this platform what it is. And the core values that center our work are something that they've also had a huge influence on, and just what we need and what we're looking for. And so now I'm going to stop talking because I see them all coming up on the screen, and I just think it makes sense to allow them to introduce themselves rather than let me talk about them. So without further ado, I present our leadership circle, incredible women doing incredible work. I'm going to allow them to go one by one and talk a little bit about themselves, their organizations, their experience, and why this work is so important. And I will go in alphabetical order. So I will start with Brittany Buford, and then you'll each be able to pass it to your colleague one by one. So thank you for joining us, and take it away.
Thanks so much, Victoria. So nice to be here with all of you guys. My name's Brittany Buford. I'm a managing partner for national programs with Partners in Democracy. And I am super excited to be part of the Women's Collaborative Leadership Circle. Achieving representation within our democracy isn't just something that I work on through Partners in Democracy, but is also part of my personal mission. It's been something that I've thought about in ensuring that women have representation over the years. Having previously worked in campaign management, I've noted over those years that there is a large need for women to be better represented within democracy and to have access to the tools to overcome democracy. while running for office. So I'm super excited. This platform is really integral to an integral part to a collaborative process of women's representation, both for organizations and through the system strategies, and an opportunity for all of us to work together and to provide dedicated space for women to collectively address these barriers that they face. So I appreciate all of you guys joining again, and I'm going to pass this baton over to Monica Burke to introduce herself.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Brittany. Thank you all so much for being here. This is such an incredible turnout. We've got 79 people. So my name is Monica Burke, and I'm the National Organizing Director at Rank the Vote. In case you're not familiar with us, at Rank the Vote, we co-found and coach up grassroots activists in organizing strategies from our playbook, which is focused on growing people, money, and endorsements. And this is for the issue of ranked choice voting at primarily the state and local level. And I'm so honored to get to know the women in the leadership circle over the past couple of months. I'm very excited to get to know many of the people on this call I do know, but many of them I don't know. I was looking at the attendees list and I'm so excited to meet all of these new people in the democracy space. So I'm very excited to connect with you on the member platform, which Victoria will be unveiling soon. You can connect with me there. And as a national organizing director at Rank the Vote, I can help you connect with the ranked choice voting state partner organizations wherever you may be. And so I look forward to working very closely with you all together. Thank you so much for being here. And I have the honor of introducing you to the amazing Arnisha Fogg-Dupree. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Hi, everyone. My name is Arnisha Fogg-Dupree, and I was the Vice President of Campaigns and Partnerships at 3 Point Strategies. I am so excited and honored to be a part of the Leadership Circle for the Women's Power Collaborative. I spent the last decade building a bold, people-powered future and working to elect Black women all across the country. This member platform is so important for the work that we all do to build the future that we deserve. Because there is so much more that we can achieve if we do it together, this platform is imperative for us to build the communities and a society that all of us truly deserve for our futures. Thank you all for being here today, and now I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the Women's Power Collective launch. I am Sarah Haig. My pronouns are she, her. I am the Chief Program Officer at Vote Mama and a proud member of the Leadership Circle for the Women's Power Collective. Our mission at Vote Mama is to build the political power of moms, because if we want better policies, we believe we need better policy makers. And when moms have a seat at the table, the conversations change, the priorities change, and our policies change. But with only 7% of members of Congress and only 5% of state legislators being moms of minor children, it is no wonder that our policies have failed women and children for generations. That's why Vote Mama, we support moms running from school board to Senate across the country and tackle the barriers that keep moms out of office and out of power. One of our core values at Vote Mama is a movement mindset. Our mission is a movement, and it's going to take every single one of us, which is why I am so excited to be part of this member platform. It is a collaborative space for women's representation organizations to build a more collective movement, which is exactly what we need right now to achieve our very ambitious goals. So I hope I get to connect with each and every one of you on the platform, and our fight is going to take each and every one of us. So thank you so much for being here. And I will hand it over to Jessica Haller, who I met when she was a candidate, one of our Vote Mama alum, and who has been doing incredible work ever since. Jessica, take it away.
Thanks, Sarah. My name is Jessica Haller. I'm the recently former executive director of the New Majority NYC, which is formerly known as 21 and 21. And in this context, and I want to thank Cynthia and Tori and Katie, because Represent Women sort of designated us as the second track in the twin track approach. So us and the other sister organizations on the ground in New York City, We're responsible for achieving a majority women city council for the first time in New York's history as the largest city in the country to achieve gender parity and authentic representation. We then re-strategize and reorganize ourselves as the New Majority NYC to further build political power for women. And I'm so excited about the Women's Power Collaborative because we need ways to scale our local efforts nationally and to bring our national efforts to the ground locally across the country. And this is going to be a disruptor to accelerate change, which I'm so excited about, and was really excited to work with all of these women for the past couple of months. So with that, I'm going to introduce and hand it over to Ryan Olson. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you all for being here. My name is Ryan Olson. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the former training and curriculum director at Emerge. In that role and throughout my career, I have trained almost 5,000 women to run for political office. And while it's wonderful to see them going to run for city council, school committee, state level, federal level, I also know there's many more out there who need to be trained and supported, and also structural issues that get in these candidates' way, that they don't have the capacity to solve within their own election cycle. This Women's Power Collaborative and this platform is going to be a really awesome opportunity for us to tackle both of those things. Have a space for these pipeline candidate development organizations to collaborate, have a space for the system work to communicate and grow together, but also to cross-collaborate across those two tracks and those two systems. And I am so excited to figure out what we do, what we build, and what we create together. And with that, I'd love to pass it over to Diane.
Thank you so much. Well, I just really echo what everybody else has already said. It's a privilege to be a part of this circle with so many amazing women, and I'm really excited to meet so many more people through this platform. I am the program manager for our advocacy work at Fair Vote, and Fair Vote is one of the leading organizations working specifically for ranked choice voting. And we are trying to get ranked choice voting, implemented across the country at all levels of government, including the single winner version, which is also known as instant runoff voting, and also the multi-winner version, which delivers close to proportional representation when we use it for legislative bodies. And I got involved in this work personally because I really see it as the catalyst for all the other reforms and policy changes that we need in our country. I feel like the reason we are banging our heads against the wall trying to get anything done is because of this systemic problem of how we elect our leaders. And exactly what Victoria said at the beginning about the twin tracks, that we need, not only do we need more women to run, and we need people from all demographic groups to run, but we need the systems change to enable them to win and lead and be successful. And so for the ranked choice voting movement, we are so dependent on collaboration. This is such a huge change that it absolutely needs to be a collaborative effort across the board. And so for example, having candidates who are supporters of ranked choice voting, touting ranked choice voting as they're running, having candidates running in ranked choice voting elections and races, and running collaboratively, which is one of the things that ranked choice voting facilitates, turning our toxic negative elections into positive, empowering elections, is just one example of how these two tracks work together. And so I am just 100% behind the mission of this collaborative and the idea of pulling together the leaders from all these different niches in this space to try to complement each other's work, make sure that we're not duplicating, making sure that we are working off of each other, and that's just going to give more power and more success to everybody. So I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you so much to Victoria and Represent Women for pulling this all together. And I think I'm the last one, so I'm going to turn it back to Victoria.
Thank you so much. This is such an incredible group. I'm going to be honest, I forgot that I was leading the webinar, and I was just yeah, everything that you're saying. I was a really excited fan. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Again, we just wouldn't be here without the work of the Leadership Circle. When I say these are some of the busiest individuals that we all know that still made time to meet every single week or every other week to help us build this platform, we really couldn't do it without them. And I'm so excited for all of you to get to meet them and get to learn a little bit more about them and their incredible work as we all start to navigate and chat on this platform. So it's the moment you've all been waiting for. I know you're like, I'm ready to see the page. Let's move on and actually see the membership platform. Before I show you, I first want to just shout out She Should Run, our friends over at She Should Run, our friends and partners. They were so helpful in sharing a little bit of information on this member platform that we're using now. So we wanted a space for chatting. We wanted a space for collaboration and data and resources. And they were extremely helpful in answering our questions and helping us figure out what tech options were out there. So just a huge thank you to our She Should Run friends. I see some of them out in the audience. And a huge thank you to them for their support. And then unfortunately, we had one leadership circle member that unfortunately could not be here today, but sends her regrets and sends her hello. The wonderful Erin Velarde, who is the founder and CEO of Vote Run Lead. So Vote Run Lead is the nation's largest and most diverse training program for women to run for office and to win. So Erin is also a member of our leadership circle, and we say hello, and I'm super excited for you to get to meet and engage with Erin as well. So we're going to go ahead and get into the platform. I'm trying to look at the chat too. There are 84 of you here. It's super exciting. I also feel like I would be remiss to not shout out my council colleague who I know is on the call with us, another wonderful woman of color, April Fournier, who is the program manager for Advanced Native Political Leadership. It's the first and only national Native-led organization working to build a complete ecosystem approach to political power building in Native communities. So shout out to April, who serves on the council with me. I'm so happy to have you here. And we're going to go ahead and jump right in to the platform. The time has come. Okay. So here is the platform screen. And I'm assuming you're all going like, oh my gosh, ooh, I can't hear you, but that's what I'm assuming is happening. And we're going to talk a little bit about this page and the activity field. But first, I want to take us to this initial welcome page. So this is our welcome page for the Women's Power Collaborative member platform. It is quite literally welcoming you to the site. So for everyone who is about to join, think of this as your home base, as your first stop, and your informational guide to the platform. And I'm not going to show you this now because we have a lot to cover, but if you click on this video, it's a really incredible conversation with RepresentWomen's founder and executive director that you all know, Cynthia Ritchie-Terrell, and our outreach manager, Alyssa Bombardier-Shaw, who is behind the scenes. Shout out to both of them. And this conversation is the origin story of the Women's Power Collaborative. This has been so many years in the making and is absolutely the brainchild of Cynthia and all her incredible work. So having Alyssa get to sit down and chat with Cynthia and get to know more about why this work is so important, why the twin track is so important, is a really, really incredible conversation. So I'm pausing here just to encourage all of you when you do get access to this site to take a few minutes and watch this video and know the origin story again of the Women's Power Collaborative and the platform. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I want to get to the highlight of this page. So as you can see here, a lot of this information of the what is it and why do we need it? This is a refresher that I know that we have already talked about, but again, some really helpful information with graphics. And I want to take you right down here to the where do I begin? So this is where I want to pause because there are so many cool features on this platform. There's so much to do and there's so much to see, and we wanted to put it all in one place for you, along with links that take you to that page. So we've got groups, and we've got member profiles, and we've got an activity feed, and we've got a resource hub. And there's a little helpful sentence or two about what each of these things are to help you get started. So I hope that as you land on this page, you will get to explore some of our features, and we wanted to just put it all in one area for you so that you could all look at it and know what each feature of this page has for you. So just a little bit for me, I know when I become a new member of a cool social media platform, I just want to get on the site. I just want to get on the site. I want to start using it and I want to explore on my own. So I know so many of you are ready to complete the questionnaire and log on and explore. But before you do, I just want to highlight a couple really helpful pages for you. So again, we have already landed on this welcome screen that has all of this information in the origin of the Women's Power Collaborative. And I also want to move over into our core values, which are also extremely important to the work that we do. So here's the core values page. And these values were created by our leadership circle. And it was really important to ensure that these values centered us and our work. And I also want to pause too and thank one of our friends and allies, Jen Simon of Wyoming Women's Action Network, who I also think is here in the crowd, for her valuable input in this conversation around our core values. But we spent time crafting these, and we spent a lot of time crafting these because this site is the only national level site of its kind. And we want to make sure that we have something that anchors us and anchors the work that we're trying to do. So just to quickly take you through these core values. So we have collaboration, of course. So an intentional facilitation of partnerships between women's representation organizations and electoral reform organizations. We have integrity, so honest and ethical practices and leading unapologetically in the advancement of women's political power. We have equity, so ensuring the women most profoundly impacted by systemic barriers are prioritized. We have systems change, increasing public consciousness of electoral reform and advancements of system strategies. And then we have cultivating leadership, so supporting the needs of women to build a pipeline of candidates. So again, I really want all of you to take a couple minutes and look at our core values, because these values really center the work and the movement that we're trying to build. And we hope that the membership on this platform also aligns with these values, so that we can continue to work together towards our shared goals of increasing women's representation. And before I move on, I want to highlight also, excuse me, I also want to highlight our leadership circle. Again, we have a leadership circle page here, but you can get to know a little bit more about them if you click on their links. They also each have quotes, which is really incredible. So if you'd like to connect with them a little bit more, learn about their work, you can go ahead and click Meet Ryan, and you'll get to engage with this individual and find a way to reach out to them for a little bit more information. So I just wanted to, again, highlight the work of the leadership circle and highlight all of the incredible quotes that they have on this page. Okay. So now that we have covered the leadership circle, we have covered our core values, we've covered the welcome page, I want to take you to one of my favorite pages, maybe yours too, which is the social groups directory. So I predict that this page will be utilized a lot, and it should be, because this will be your opportunity to get to meet like-minded individuals working on shared goals. So as you can see, we have a number of groups here split up by region. So when you join the page and you start to navigate it, head on over to the groups page to find your network. We also have a researchers group, as you can see here, for our friends and researchers who want to share information and want to share data. We have an elected officials group as well, for those of you who are serving or thinking about serving. And we also have an international group as well, because we know that this movement is global. And so we're really excited to get to engage in and outside of the United States with this work. And if you don't see a group that, as you start exploring, you don't see a group that really speaks to you or one that you think should be added, please reach out and we can discuss getting it added. But we wanted to start here and make sure that we put everything into regions across the United States, just so that we can make this a helpful starting point for all of you. So take it one step further. I'm going to go into the Midwest group, although I should have actually gone into Northeast group for Maine, but I'm going to go into the Midwest group. And as you can see, when you join the group, you have a lot of options over on your left, which is really great. So you can upload documents and you can share photos. And of course, you can start discussions. And I've actually already prompted each group with an introduction, discussion, So you can go in and you can share where you're from and the work that you do and get to know one another within these spaces. So I'm really excited to see these groups utilized by region, because I think that there is a lot of opportunity for really great connection and collaboration within these spaces. And again, going back to our shared goal of women's representation and systems work, it's going to be really important for all of you to feel like you can go into these groups and find community, you can find advice, you can find resources. So we're extremely excited to be able to highlight this really incredible groups page. So definitely after you get oriented with the site and start to do some looking around, go into here and find your group, join and introduce yourself. And if you get lost and you're just like, this is a lot of information, what is she talking about? We made a groups 101 page. So it is quite literally as easy as step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So if you ever get sidetracked and need a refresher on the groups, we also have some information here for you as well. And the last page, or maybe the second to last page that I want to show you, because I actually do want to show you literally everything, but we're going to go here and I want to highlight this before I talk about how you can become a member of this amazing resource hub. So at one of our first Leadership Circle meetings, we brainstormed on what our goals were around this collaborative. And we said, what do we want to accomplish? What are we missing within women's representation spaces and electoral reform spaces? And how do we make sure that we can make this a movement? And we landed on the following 3 pillars of what we think are the most important goals that we're trying to accomplish with a platform like this. So the first goal was increasing efficiency. The second goal was setting standards. And the third goal was driving strategy. And these 3 pillars reflect the overall goals of the Women's Power Collaborative and the movement that we are creating. So I thought it was really important to ensure that all of these pillars in different ways and the creation of a resource hub is reflected within our increasing efficiency platform. So as you can see here, we absolutely don't have time to reinvent the wheel. There is so much work to do. And so from here, you will find resources, not only from us, but from our partners as well. And I want to take you a little step further so I can show you what exactly these resources look like. So we have a space for reports, memos, and briefs, which is really exciting. So as you can see, we have RepresentWomen's Gender Parity Index. We have the impact analysis of the New York City's Women Majority City Council. We have campaign funds for childcare and politics of parenthood information from our friends over at Vote Mama. We have supporting and electing women and why the majority matters from New Majority New York City. We have information on proportional ranked choice voting, information on voting systems and women's representation, and why representation matters from the Center for American Women in Politics. So we have a ton of information here that you can share with your networks and that you can share with your colleagues that we're hoping are a helpful step towards having this conversation in terms of boosting women's political power and looking at it through the twin track approach. So this is the reports, memos, and briefs section. We'll continue to add to this section as this page grows and expands, but we wanted to give you a starting point of really important, helpful memos that you can take with you. And then I also want to go to shareable graphics and handouts and courses. So we split this up between pipeline strategies and system strategies. And let me actually scroll down a little bit more so you can see the twin track approach here. Again, we've got the candidate track focusing on individuals, building a pipeline of women. And then we have the systems track focused on political processes and removing pipeline blockages so that more women can advance in political leadership. And we've categorize them out here for you. So if we click on pipeline strategies and you're looking for information on candidacy or women's representation, you can find a link to our friends over at Vote Run Lead and their Vote Run Lead headquarters. You can find the She Should Run Encourage Her digital postcards. You can also find She Should Run signature training curriculum, political training courses from Women's Public Leadership Network, candidate training information from Emerge. And so we again wanted to make sure that all of this information was in a central place for you so that it's easy to find, it's easy to take with you, and it's easy to show with your networks. We don't need to duplicate additional work because it's already here, and our goal is to make this a central platform for all of this information. And just to go into the system strategy, shareables as well. So we have ranked choice voting and representation. We have our interactive dashboard from RepresentWomen over on the right. We have one of my favorites, the Gender Parity Index State Scorecard. So depending on where you live, you can go ahead and click into that and find your gender parity scorecard. Ranked choice voting information, validator quotes from some of our amazing women leaders. We have Rank the Votes, ranked choice voting movement playbook. And we have a lot of just incredible information on structural barriers that exist that are stopping women from running. So lots of really incredible information, but we really hope that you'll take the time to look and to share. And if you have resources that you're like, this, the resource that I have needs to be a conversation, you can absolutely put it within the resource group that we mentioned and have that conversation there. You can share it with us and we can talk about getting it put up actually on this platform. We just want to make sure, again, that we have a central area for individuals to find what they need so that they can continue working towards the advancement of all of this really incredible work. So I think I maybe said that this is the last page that I'm going to show you, but that is just not true because I also need to show you the upcoming events page. So there's a lot happening on this platform. There is a lot of information, and we wanted to ensure that we put everything in one place. So we have embedded a calendar here that you'll continue to check and you'll get to see what is happening on this member platform. We're excited to do presentations. We're excited to do trainings. We are excited to host lunch and learn, some from us and some from all of you. We are excited to have all member meetings. And while I'm saying all member meetings, let me just plug that the first one is going to be December 14th at noon. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But this calendar is going to be your space where you can come and check and register for trainings, register for gatherings, and make sure that you are not missing anything that is happening on this platform. And again, if you would like to host a training, if you would like to host a webinar and you have incredible research that you want to share or incredible numbers on women's representation in certain states, make sure that you contact us because our job at RepresentWomen, especially in partnerships, is to really advance the work that you're all trying to do and find a platform for that work. So don't forget to contact us here because we would love to hear your ideas for making this platform as inclusive and as collaborative as possible. So I'm going to go back to home, which is where you will all start when you join this page. Which is the activity feed. So that was a really rapid look at the member platform. And really quick, while I'm here on the activity feed, this is your standard social media platform. So this will say, share what's on your mind. I'm the Women's Power Collaborative, but it will have your name. So you can write something like, I love it here, and we'll all get to see it. It's also really scary typing when so many people are watching. I was hoping I wouldn't make a typo, but you can share whatever you want to share in terms of women's representation, looking for information. The groups are also a really incredible space to do that. But share something interesting or cool with us. Share some really exciting highlights with us. We just had an election. We want to know who won. We want to know what was passed. And this is a space where you can share what's on your mind as well. So this is going to be the first thing that you see when you sign on to the page. And then over at your left, as you can see here, you can orient yourself with our welcome page. You can watch the video. We also have blogs and a lot of other incredible information. So I'm going to pause. That was a lot of information. And I know the biggest question everyone is asking is, this is cool, but how do we get on the page? So luckily, we have made the membership application process of getting on this page extremely easy. So I'm going to switch tabs. And I'm going to go over here to, oops, let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to our member application, which is on the RepresentWomen website. And I'm hoping that somebody puts the link to this member application in the chat while I am describing it. But this member application will take hopefully less than 5 minutes for you to complete. And we just want to know a little bit about you. So we want to know your name, the organization that you work for. We want to know what interests you about the space. And once you submit the application, our team will review. And if all looks good, then we will send you a link to create your profile, which also should take you less than 5 minutes. All very, very quick, very, very exciting. And in addition to a link to create your profile, you will also get a link to attend one of our welcome webinars. So what is a welcome webinar? I'm going to tell you, and I'm actually going to go back here to the Women's Power Collaborative, and I'm going to go to upcoming events so that I can have a visual while I share with you what a welcome webinar is. So here we go. So a welcome webinar is a very brief introductory meeting with myself and a few members of the Leadership Circle who will get to know you a little bit and point you in the right direction of this website based on what you're looking for on this platform. So again, upon review of your application, which is very, very short, just a few questions, you will receive a membership link to sign up for this platform and a link to register for our welcome webinars. These welcome webinars will be every Thursday from 4:30 to 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, starting November 30th. I say 4:30 to 5, it may take even less time, less than a half an hour. I know all of you are very busy, but our goal is just to make sure that we have a quick touch base with everyone who is a member of the page, just to ensure that it remains as safe and as inclusive as possible. It is not absolutely required to have a welcome webinar in order to get a link. Again, I know calendars are busy, holidays are coming up, there's a lot happening, but what I'm hoping is that we can at least engage quickly with everyone who's a member of the page, just so that we know a little bit about you and we can point you in the right direction. And like I said, the welcome webinars will be Thursdays beginning on the 30th, but if you look over here on the calendar, for some of you that are like, but Victoria, I see an early access welcome webinar at 4:30 tomorrow. You are correct, because since we have launched the platform today, and we really just want to get you all on the site immediately because it's great and we want to just get it going, we have an early bird special offer for you. So for anyone who completes the member application by noon tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, we are offering to rush the processing of your application and welcome you with an early access welcome webinar tomorrow from 4:30 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. So at this welcome webinar, you'll get to meet personally a few members of our leadership circle. You'll get a personal introduction by all of them. We'll get to meet you. We'll get to know what your goals are, what you're looking for, and we can point you in the right direction. And you'll also get to meet anyone else that signs up to be part of this site as well. So the collaboration will already begin. So let me repeat that, because again, lots of information. And I know that it's Thursday, it's getting a little bit late. So I'm going to say that again. So anyone who goes to our website and completes a membership application, and I've seen some of them come in as I've been talking, which has been very exciting. For those of you who complete that before noon tomorrow, we will make sure that we get you on the page and that we get you an invite to tomorrow's welcome webinar starting at 4:30 for an early access, early bird special, because we want to ensure all of you can get on this page as soon as possible. So that again was a very rapid, but hopefully informative tour of this member platform. I'm going to click home up here again so we can take you back to the activity feed. And we're really, really excited for the incredible work to come from this platform and from this page. And we're really looking forward to welcoming all of you into this space, because I do think that this is the first step towards a really incredible movement in work around this Women's Power Collaborative and work around boosting women's representation. So I am actually going to stop screen sharing for a second so that I can see myself and not all of you, and do a quick time check. Because we do have some time for questions. We had this webinar going until 5 o'clock, and I would love to answer any specific questions that all of you have in terms of the site and in terms of the member platform. We also still have all members of the Leadership Circle here as well. So if there are any questions in the Q&A, I'm happy to answer them, and I can also glance over at the chat. Thank you. I'm so glad it was an amazing explanation. I was hoping that it would be as helpful as possible, and the site is very intuitive as well. So I'm really, really excited for all of you to be part of this platform. Okay, so let me go ahead and look at the Q&A. It is open, so please ask your questions as much as you can, and I will start going through these questions. Okay, so will there be a running calendar of events? Okay, this is a great question. So yes. So the hope and the goal of this platform is that we can build out this calendar with some really incredible events. We know that we're getting close to the end of the year. We're getting close to holiday time. And so we want to make sure that we have as much attendance as possible with these events. So we are starting to organize and schedule some really great webinars and lunch and learns and networking opportunities and training opportunities that will all be populated on the calendar. For right now, what we have planned for anyone who is a member of the site is our all members meeting that I know that I mentioned, which is taking place on Thursday, December 14th from noon to 1. We're doing it kind of lunch and learn style as well. And so we're really excited for the calendar to fill up. And in terms of if you would like to present something, if your organization would like to present something within this platform, we will make sure that there is a link to contact me, but we'll also make sure we have a sign-up sheet as well so that we can hear a little bit more about what you would like to present, make sure that we're getting it scheduled, and really ensure that we are providing additional information as much as we can. So yes, continue to check that calendar. I'll also make sure that myself or other staff members or the leadership circle is posting regularly so that you're not missing anything for those of you who can't check the calendar regularly. So I hope that that answers your question, that yes, we will absolutely be populating that calendar as much as we can. And we're really excited to bring some great presentations your way. Okay. Next question from Marissa. Can there be smaller subgroups within the regions? And is there a planned summit? Okay, I love this question. So yes, there can be smaller subgroups. I think, again, we wanted to make sure that we didn't narrow it down too much immediately. So we're hopeful that as the page continues to grow, that we can start making sure that we are narrowing it down a little bit more, so that way you feel like it's a little bit more intimate with your groups. Because right now, for example, we have Northeast and Mid-Atlantic in one group. If we start to have a ton of activity in that page, we can certainly narrow it down. So yes. And again, if there are any questions in terms of, I see, I have a group that I would like to be displayed, but it's not, just reach out to us and we can talk about getting it added. Because the thing with this page is we really want to make sure that it's a space for everyone. We really want to make sure that everybody can find what they're looking for. So absolutely yes to eventually creating smaller subgroups for more intimate and direct conversations. And then will there be a planned summit? Yes. When? I'm not sure, but there absolutely, I am all for in-person gatherings, in-person summit. I'm hopeful that I know that there's a presidential election happening next year. There's going to be a lot of election work happening, but I'm really excited. And that is absolutely a goal, hopefully for 2024, to have an in-person gathering of the all members meeting of the collaborative. We can all engage in person. We can do trainings in person, we can do events in person, and just get to network and collaborate face-to-face, because there absolutely is a lot of power in all being in a room together and having those conversations. So I'm really excited to plan the summit. You absolutely will not miss it, because we will be sharing that as much as we can within the member platform. So that's a great question, and I'm really excited for that to come to life. So stay tuned on that for 2024 for a Women's Power Collaborative Summit, because that's going to be really great. So thank you for that question. How do I submit events, reports, or trainings to be added to the WPC? Okay, great question. So in terms of submitting an event, if you want to host an event or you want to host a training, you can send that information. There's a contact us page, a contact us link in upcoming events, and that will be sent directly to me. So you can absolutely do it that way. If you're really busy and you just want to put it into the feed of the Women's Power Collaborative, you can also type that in and just say, hey, I want to host this training. How do I do it? We'll make sure that somebody follows up with you to get your questions answered. If you want to submit any type of report or any type of data, you can do that in a lot of places. You can do that by uploading it as a document within the specific group that you're in. If it is a piece of research or a really important data point, you can put it in the researchers group. And if you want it to be highlighted on the actual platform under the resource hub, you can contact us as well. We'll have an option and a link for you to send that to us. And then we can talk about getting that put up on the page. We want to make sure, again, that we have as much helpful research as possible. And between actually being displayed on the website and being displayed within the groups, we're hopeful that all of that information can be easily accessible. So thank you for that question. And I'm looking in the chat as well. Okay. Potential question. Okay, who is allowed to join the Women's Power Collaborative? What should I do if there is a resource I need that I don't see? Okay. So who is allowed to join the Women's Power Collaborative? Another really great question that we've gotten a couple of times. So this is not a site that is exclusively only for women. If you do not identify as a woman, you are absolutely still included and welcomed within the Women Power Collaborative. We just obviously will be centering women's representation, but we love our allies. We can't do anything without our allies. So men, of course, are able to join the site. And we want to make sure that we are creating an inclusive space, creating an accessible space, and also really highlighting the significant barriers that exist that impact marginalized identities from being able to achieve political power. So this site is welcome and open for all. We just want to make sure that, again, we are filling it with allies and supporters of boosting women's political power, but this is in no way exclusively only for women. And we look forward, again, to meeting so many supporters and so many allies as much as we can. So I hope that that answers your question, and I really look forward to meeting all of you. Again, I'm hopeful that I will be in all of the welcome webinars. So you'll get to, hopefully I'll get to meet with every single person that was here and have a conversation about it as well. So hopefully that answers that question. Looking in the Q&A, we've got a few more minutes left, so get those questions in, and anything that I can't answer, of course, I will answer via email. Okay, are college students able to be a part of the Women's Power Collaborative? That is a 1000% yes, please. We absolutely want to make sure that this is a movement that includes everyone, and that it very much is college students, that's very much younger people. We want to make sure that we're building that power and that we are aligning our efforts with large demographics of people, especially young people, especially people who are in college or college graduates, because our movement is to boost women's representation. We need Gen Z in order to make sure that we can continue this movement. I was like, Monica, I'm glad you said it was Gen Z, because I was like, is it? It is, right? I'm a millennial, so it's Gen Z. So of course, we need Gen Z as part of this movement. We absolutely can't do it without them. And anyone that you know that's in college that is interested in the Women's Power Collaborative, wants some more information, is interested in research, is interested in the twin track approach, we welcome all of you to please become a member of this page. We're excited to meet with you. We're also just excited to see what you want to see on the page as well. We're going to be sending out a couple of surveys as the page continues to grow, because at the end of the day, this member platform is for you, and it's only as successful as all of the members on it. So we want to ensure that you're getting everything that you need. If there's something on there and you're saying, hey, I think it would be great if we had XYZ, let's have a conversation about it and figure out how we can get it on the page. Because the biggest thing is the more that we use it, the bigger this movement will grow. And we're really excited to see where we end up, because this is just the beginning. So absolutely, this is a really, really great question. Really great question. I'm looking in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of Gen Z love in the chat. So yes, absolutely. I don't see any more questions. I'm trying to scan to make sure that I don't miss anything, but I do know it's 4:54. It's getting late. It's pitch black here now if you're in Maine, and so I think I'm gonna move us to a close, and I'll keep looking at the Q&A. If any last minute questions come in, I'll make sure that I share that as well. But I first want to extend a huge thank you to all of you for being here and for joining this launch. This has been a really incredible effort, and we're so excited to have all of you here. We're so excited for your enthusiasm. So thank you all for taking the time. I know schedules are very busy. I know that there's a lot to do, and there's always a lot happening within this world. So thank you for taking the time to join the launch and for asking questions and for being engaged and for being excited. We're really, really enthusiastic for the work that is coming out of this movement. So a huge thank you to all of you for being here and all of your engagement. I also want to thank the Leadership Circle for all of your work. We could not have done this without you. We hand selected all of you for a reason. Thank you so much for all of the work that you've put in with your absolutely super busy schedules. All of you showed up consistently. All of you were dedicated to this work. So a huge shout out and a thank you to our Leadership Circle and many of our partners for really supporting and advancing this work. We, again, would not be here without you. And then a great huge thank you to the Represent Women team, of course. I mean, this is such a team effort. I'm the one that gets to unveil it and share it. but this wouldn't exist without so much team effort. We have been working diligently for months on this launch and on this movement. The team just really came together to make all of this possible. So just a huge shout out to my Represent Women team for their tireless work on making this launch such a success. And thank you all so much. And again, let me reiterate one more time for the road. If you sign up by noon tomorrow, we will make sure that we process your application. We will get you that link. We'll get you on the site. Make sure that you join our welcome webinars. If you can't join the one tomorrow, but you still want to be on the site, that's completely fine. Just make sure you check our calendar and join one that works for your schedule. We are very excited to meet you. The link was put in the chat. It is also on the Represent Women website. So go ahead and sign up to be a member of the Women's Power Collaborative. And just a huge thank you for being part of this work and part of this effort. I'm really excited to see where it goes. So again, my name is Victoria Pelletier. I'm the National Partnerships Manager with Represent Women. Thank you all so much for coming. Take care, and we will talk with you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tori. Great job. Welcome, everyone.
Can't wait to meet all of you.